keep promises.
All right, what's that they say about no good deed goes unpunished? Apple cautiously guards its loot to prepare for a rainy day. And the folks who have spent all of our loot, all of our futures, want to know why he can't be leg damned and blow it all away. Now, that is basically what Apple CEO Tim Cook is up against when he plays what I'm sure will be a piñata on Capitol Hill next week. Lawmakers are asking him to defend his $100 billion cash stash. Why can't you blow it like us? Adam, that's weird. That's what I'm saying. It is weird. I think I got the gist of it.
Well, I don't know that they're asking him to defend anything so much as discuss and explain Apple's tax policy. I mean, there's a perfectly legitimate discussion to be had here about why it is, first of all, that Apple doesn't repatriate its cash. Tim Cook has a very good answer for that. They would have to face high taxes to do it. But there's also this elaborate scheme that Apple and other U.S. companies very legally use to route their money through Caribbean islands and Luxembourg and Ireland and Reno, Nevada, and the list goes on and on. And
wait a minute,
I think
get from
that is an
Luxembourg to
important
Reno, Nevada?
conversation that we can be having.
Okay. Gene Marks, what do you make of that?
Well, first of all, Neil, it's whatever schemes they're doing, as long as it's legal, it's legal. And it's very interesting that they're bringing in Tim Cook because, you know, he runs Apple, which happens to be one of the most well-known companies on the planet. So why not get a little press out of that as well?
Good point.
I mean, come on, imagine somebody saying to you, Neil, like, you know, this is the amount of money you have in your bank account, and the government comes in and says, you have to spend it on this or spend it on that, or we want some answers. I mean, that's what I've got a wife for. I don't need the government telling me how to spend my money. So
anyway, you just alienated a few viewers, but what the heck? Monica, what I wonder with this is to what end? Is Apple used, to Adam's point, as an example?
Guys, I've lost sound.
And what do you make of that? That's what this is all about. Make an example, sort of guilt these companies into not just sitting on that dough.
I think this is just preposterous, to be honest with you. Apple's not doing anything against the law, and they owe to their shareholders. That's who Tim Cook should be looking out for. And they're doing absolutely everything by the leg of the law. And to even suggest that there's a level of ethics involved here, I think just turns my stomach over. I don't think Jesus has a position on the tax code. I don't think Lord Krishna has a position on the tax code. Taxes are taxes. The government needs a certain. The government needs a certain amount of money to run its functions, and if the legislators need more than that, they should be very clear with the tax code. And if you're creating tax loopholes, then don't get outraged when people use them.
Okay, go ahead, Adam.
At the risk of suggesting a civics lesson to you, the Congress makes laws. They have every right to change the tax law, and we can have a reasonable conversation about whether. Let me finish, please. About whether or not. Let me finish, please. About whether or not the tax law is correct and appropriate. So I even said, and I agree, that Apple is following the tax law, and they're going to have a conversation about whether or not we should change the tax law. In other words, should it be legal to route your revenues through Luxembourg?
Here's what I like about this, and I'm not a fan of the Congress scrutinizing anyone of our fiscal propriety. I mean, that's one thing. But leaving aside that, I like the fact that the coolest company on earth that was always above getting picked apart is now getting a little bit picked apart. So that is an encouraging development. I just think for all the wrong reasons. What say you?
You know, I can tell you one thing. I think making the attention on Apple certainly puts an attention on that issue. But I want to give credit, actually, to Tim Cook. I mean, he's playing it the right way. He's being summoned, and I bet you he'll handle it very professionally. I mean, that's
you can't ignore it. You can't not go, right?
You can't ignore it, but at the same time, look at the trouble that Microsoft got into. Look at the antitrust trouble that Google's into, actually, you know, over in Europe now. You have to play this game if you're running companies like that, and I give him credit for doing that.
To Gene's point, he could send his head of taxation instead, and he's going and taking responsibility. I completely agree.
Head of taxation? Well, you wrote the book on it, so I guess they do. Head of taxation.
I assume there's someone who's in charge of tax policy. Yes, and instead, I don't think he'll be a piñata at all. They just might have an intelligent policy conversation.
I'm going to replay that press conference or hearing. It will be like a press conference.
There's no way this is market research. This is not market research. Like, if you're telling me that there isn't going to be grandstanding going on, I'll send you lunch.
Well, it's Congress. Come on. That's like saying there'll be no grandstanding on television.
Send lunch. Guys, I want to thank you all. Gene Marks, good luck sleeping on the couch tonight. It's always,
You know I'm going to get in trouble for that,
you
Neil.
are,
You know.
buddy. But by the way, stand in line. I've done the same thing. But it's always good having you. Have a great weekend, everybody. We're going to be monitoring this on all of these hearings and all of these